some stuff before we go over anything. Does anybody have anything they'd like to go over? Any questions, comments, concerns as we move forward? Yoshi.
So with the successful rehab plan and putting down like 3 visits a week, previously I was kind of defaulting to 2 at like 8 to 10 weeks, give or take, depending on the person. But given that, like, and theoretically with the chart cutting off at like 17 visits, should we be like 5 weeks, 3 times 5, 3 times 6 kind of thing? Is that how we should like think about it?
Yeah, and we're gonna dive deeper into the successful rehab plan today, and answer all those questions of everything that we've been going through over the past month. But essentially, yes, and that's why that's exactly the scenario that I was explaining to you last time. When we say 3 times a week, we're not saying more total visits. So we're saying 3 times a week so we can see them more often in a shorter period. Because the more often you see them, the more likely they will recover. So this is not about more volume or more number of visits. This is about increasing the frequency. So yes, and that chart shows it, the 4 levels of recovery chart shows it clearly, right? We're not, so 3 times a week for our usual 8 to 10 weeks, oh my goodness, that's 24 to 30 visits. No, I mean, that's not what we need to get out of the patient. We need to get them to their level 4. We get them level 4, 15 visits, 16 visits, right? So 3 times a week, 4 or 5 weeks, yeah. But if you tell a patient 3 times a week for 10 weeks, they're not gonna, I wouldn't sign up for that, right? But we're gonna dive deeper into that today, all the different scenarios and what's been going on in the last month and how it's been going, but essentially, yes, shorter time period. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So a couple of housekeeping things before we move forward. We have a new PT starting on April 20th. Yay! Her name is Katie Green. She comes to us from another facility with several years experience. Super excited about joining us here. She's got a strong passion for running. So any running questions, she's a running coach as well. So any running questions you can pass through her. She'll be happy to answer. And she'll be starting on Monday the 20th, so we're excited. One little housekeeping thing about the active patient report. So we have that new category, the drop-offs, right? So someone that hasn't been seen or drops off the schedule less than 5 visits after their eval. Thankfully, it's very few, 1 or 2 every week or so, so not that big of a deal. The thing is, in order for our numbers to sort of stay consistent across the board, when you do put someone on the drop-off list, they also need to be in the unsuccessful discharge list. So you're putting them twice, okay? One, because they're counted in both aspects of it. So they're unsuccessfully discharged for obvious reasons, but if you saw them for less than 5 visits, then they're also a drop-off, okay? So just to keep that clear so that we're consistent across the board. Okay, so it's been a month since we last talked about all the successful rehab plan improvements and changes. And before we get into the nitty gritty and talk about all the deep dive into the specifics, I do want to acknowledge the effort that I've seen in the past month. I mean, seriously, I really, really appreciate everything that you guys have been doing from when we talked about it last month to this month. It's made a huge difference. The numbers are improving, the patient outcomes are improving. So there's been an increase in our prescription rate and our visit frequency. And I know it's not easy, so I really, really appreciate you guys leaning into it and really making an effort, okay? So pat yourselves on the shoulders for that. Good job. So let's dig a little deeper and talk about how it's going so far and what we can continue to do. Because although we saw this, slight increase, we want to keep that momentum going. We want to see what we're doing right, what we're doing not as right, and continue the trend basically. Because the worst thing to do is to get all this going and then it slip back again. So we can talk to see what is helping, what is not helping, so we can support each other through the process and continue the trend. And again, the reason why we're emphasizing the 3 times a week, right? Like, it's not to increase volume. We're not trying to get the patient in for 24 or 30 visits. We're trying to get them in for those 12 to 15 visits, right? So it's a shorter period of time. And when you see them for a shorter period of time, they're more likely to commit to the entire plan of care because it doesn't seem so overwhelming to them for them to be here for the next 3 months. They only have to be here for the next month and a half, max, okay? But they have to commit to that. So it's not about pushing the volume, it's about pushing the outcomes. Statistics and studies have shown that if you see the patient more often in a shorter period of time, they will reach their goals. They will get to what they set out to do. And not just decrease pain, but get back to doing the activities they've been wanting to do and having a yearning to do, but just couldn't because of the pain. So again, our ultimate goal is to get that successful graduation rate to go up. We want to be known as the clinic that has the best patient outcomes. Not the highest volume, but the best patient outcomes. We make our patients better. That's it. That's what I signed up in PT school to do, get people better. And that's what our goal is, get people better, period. So, when patients come in consistently early on, they recover faster, they stay engaged, it's part of their routine, and they're much more likely to graduate. It becomes part of their life to come in 2 to 3 times a week over the short period of time, and then they're done with, they're engaged, they're part of it. So, let's take a little poll, shall we? All right. So, what are we focusing on, or what have we been focusing on this past month? We've been focusing on our successful graduation rate, our visit frequency, right? How many times a patient's coming in per week, and our prescription rate. How many times we're prescribing PT to the patient, okay? So we're gonna take a poll of what you all think our numbers are right now. So, for our successful graduation rate, what do you think our numbers are now? Andrew, what's our successful graduation rate right now?
80%.
80%, okay. I'm gonna write everyone's answers down. Yoshi.
Can you clarify?
Yep.
What you mean, like, is it 80% of people who were discharged this month?
So over the past, since we've been measuring it truly, so let's say since the beginning of the year, over this quarter, from January till now, what do you think the trend of our successful graduation rate is?
Versus the unsuccessful? Like those are the.
Versus the unsuccessful? Yeah, 80% of our patients.
As opposed to versus like the total case load.
No, so if 80% of our patients graduated successfully, 20% graduated unsuccessfully. Yes.
70.
Shoshana.
75.
Danielle.
67. I don't know. I'm thinking about it.
Did you have a?
85.
Nice, I love it. All right, Karen, our student with the 85, yes. I'll get you.
72.
Physical disgusting price.
Huh? Yeah.
What?
That's the closest get a price, sure. Kino.
80.
Okay, great numbers. Visit frequency. How often are our patients coming in? 1 time a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, or a fraction of that so that it's an average. So, 1.8, 2.1, 3.1. What do you guys think our current visit frequency is? The average of how many times a week our patients are currently attending physical therapy. Attending. Yeah.
1.8.
Yoshi.
1.6.
1.65.
You start adding percentages.
1.53.
This is high. 3.1.
Love it.
1.7.
I'll get you.
1.3.
I don't know if you should have an input since you.
I haven't looked at it. I closed my computer.
Since you would input these numbers on a daily
I'm sorry,
basis.
I closed
You
my
know.
computer.
1.75. Okay. Our prescription rate. So this is, we're gonna break it down by percentages. What's the percentage of how many patients we're scheduling 1 time a week? What's the percentage that we're scheduling twice a week? And what's the percentage that we're scheduling 3 times a week?
This is what we're writing on our.
Yes, correct, on what you're prescribing. Andrew.
So you want me to say a percentage for how many, like what's the percentage of them that are once a week, what's the percentage for twice a week,
Yep.
every week?
Yep, so 1 time a week. How many of our patients are we prescribing 1 time a week? How many are we prescribing 2 times a week? And how many of our patients are we prescribing 3 times a week in percentages? So you've got 100% total. So 10% of my patients 1 time a week. Huh?
So you have a calculator.
Oh, yeah. 10% of our patients 1 time a week, 60% of my patients twice a week, and 30% of my patients 3 times a week. Okay?
Yeah.
Got it? Okay.
0, 80, 20.
Okay. So 0, 1 time a week. This is your prescription. And by the way, these numbers are as a whole, clinic as a whole. So you don't just have to give your own numbers. As a whole, how we're doing, okay? So 0, 1 time a week, 80, 20%, 2 times a week, and 20% 3 times a week.
0, 40, 60.
0, 40, 60. So 40% twice a week, 60% 3 times a week. Shoshana.
5.
5, 1 time a week.
Yeah. 45, 50.
45% of our patients twice a week, and 50% of our patients 3 times a week. Hope someone's checking our math here. Just
Yeah,
kidding.
don't worry.
Danielle,
Is this over the past month or quarter?
over the past quarter.
Oh, boy.
Okay, no. Over the past month, you're right. We've been working really hard over it over the past month. Over the past month.
Okay.
Oh, we can change it. No, we can change it.
1.
1%?
Yeah.
Oh, my, okay. I love this. Someone really get your calculator out.
65.
Oh my god.
34.
Nice.
Oh, nice, Danielle.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
0, 75, 25.
0, 75, 25. I got you.
I would do 10.
Yep.
40, 60.
40% 2 times a week, 60% of our patients.
What's today? Huh?
That's 110.
I wanted that. 40, 50. How's it going extra? Good. Your prescribers.
She's also including next door's
Prescribers
patients.
and people who haven't come in yet.
So 10% of our patients 1 time a week, 40% of our patients 2 times a week, and 50% of our patients 3 times a week. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Kina.
0, 50, 50.
Whoa, love it. You just didn't want to do the math. So 0 1 time a week, 50% 2 times a week, and 50% 3 times a week. Yes? Okay, great. These are wonderful numbers. Now let's go to the actual numbers, okay? So we'll start with the successful graduation rate. Again, the successful graduation rate is the percentage of our patients that were successfully graduated. That means they've met all their goals, we have an NPS score, they're done. And we talked about does anybody know what our goal for successful graduation? I mean, obviously 100%, but a realistic goal of how many of our patients we want to successfully graduate? 90. I mean, 90 would be great. Love that. All right, so over the past month, okay, so we've been calculating this on a weekly basis. We do it individually as PTs, and then we take averages, and then we do it as a clinic whole. And our actual graduation rate is 60 to 64%. It was like 60, 62, 64. So who's the winner? Who did 67?
Woo! Well, not woo.
Yeah, not who, right? We didn't want to win this one, right? Kina and Andrew should have won this one, right? So this is where we're at. Okay? We need this number to go up. Okay? We want more than 60% of our patients to get better. We want more than 70% of our patients to get better. It's the same number of patients. We're not talking about increasing in volume, right? That same number. We saw 100 patients this week. Why did only 60 of them get better? Why didn't 90 of them get better? Didn't say, why didn't you see 120? Right? So we just need this number to go up. This is what it's at. Now, I started off by saying you guys are doing an incredible job, and you are. Because when we started, before we've been really pushing, this number was in the 30s and the 40s. So incredible job, guys, seriously, okay? But that's good, yeah, pat her on the back, yes. But that's why I want to talk about this. That's why I want you guys to see these numbers. Because what you're doing is working. And we need it to continue to work. And we need to just keep going up this hill. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. It's breaking habits that we've been doing for years, okay? And it's a very conscious effort. And it takes more brain power than a normal day-to-day. I get it. But you're doing it. And we just need that little extra push to keep doing it. The worst thing right now is to get halfway there and drop the ball. Because everything that you did the last couple of months is like wasted effort. Okay? Yeah, I'll get you.
I was just gonna say, like, when you guys are going through your active patient, because I know I'm guilty of this too, like, there's people who they don't come as often, and we're keeping them on an active patient, or you're hoping that they come back. Like, once you guys just please reach out to your patients, see where they are, that way you can make a definitive answer if you're going to discharge them. Like, I know I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like, damn, I had to discharge like 12 people this week because they didn't respond to my email from last month, and yes, that does make the number go down, but it's better you get rid of it now than to hang on to all these people in your active patients who truly are not active.
Can I piggyback off of that? You can also check with me to see if I've reached out to them, because I usually do.
Correct. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, yeah, no, thanks, Andrew. Watch the video later, Andrew.
Oh, definitely.
By the way, guys, we have a YouTube channel and all these are on our YouTube channel, so in case you wanna go over anything, it's all there. So yeah, the thing is the worst thing to do is really just like drop the ball now. We've been working so hard, we just have to continue that push, okay? And to see these numbers, I was gonna say in black and white, in red and white is pretty eye-opening, right? Especially since like, this is where we thought we're at, right? But this is where we're at in reality. Because it feels like we're here, right? All of our patients are getting better, aren't they? Okay? All right. Next, visit frequency. So on the weekly wrap up, the last column of the visit frequency, there's a goal number. Anybody know what that goal number is? 1.8, yeah. And so what does 1.8 mean? 1.8 means we see our patients, the majority of our patients at least twice a week and some once a week, and very few 3 times a week, right? So our goal is, for now, is 1.8, because I'd like to at least get close to that on the weekly wrap up. But we have a whole nother set of goals that Ogechi and I are working on, and then we're gonna go over today with you. And our goal for that is 2.3. Means the majority of our patients are being seen between 2 and 3 times a week, okay? So I asked you guys, how often do you think you're seeing your patients? Not a single person said 2. Kina said 1.75, which means close to 2 times a week. But everybody else said, no, that's not true. Who said 1.7? Katie, Karen, you did? Yes. 1.7. And then Andrew said 1.8. So you all said close to 2, but not exactly 2. Ogechi said 1.3, but she doesn't count because she looks at the numbers on a daily basis. So our actual number is 1.33. So we see our patients 1.33 times a week on average. It's pretty low, no? So, again, this is an improvement. It used to be 0.9. It used to be 1.1, right? What would make it 0.9? Because we were seeing a bunch once a week and a bunch twice a week, but more once a week than twice a week, bringing the average down to 0.9. I think we only hit 0.9 once. I'm still there. So 1.33 is where we're at now. So we did an improvement. And again, amazing work over the past 3 months, even more so over the past month to get it there, okay? Our initial goal is 1.8 to get it closer to twice a week, but our big time goal is 2.3, which means majority of patients are being seen 2 to 3 times a week, okay? Any questions on that? Our prescription rates, okay, let's make our 3 columns. So we've got 1 time a week, twice a week, and 3 times a week. So we've got numbers all over the place here, which is interesting. A few people think that we're still prescribing 1 time a week, which is interesting. And some twice a week, and a whole lot prescribing 3 times a week. So, in actuality, on average, I feel like I'm on The Price is Right now.
Is this for the month or is this for the quarter?
This is for the month, yes, right? Because we've really been focusing on it. This is over the past month, since we've been doing that big push since our last meeting. This is what our average has been. So, for 1 time a week, we've been prescribing 4.9% of the time. So winner, winner, 5%er.
That's me.
Great job. Twice a week. We've been prescribing twice a week, 78.98%. And for 3 times a week, 15.72%. Andrew, even though he said he wanted to change these numbers because he thought that it wasn't the average of the past month, he thought it was overall. So I'm not sure what that is, but so beyond this one, this is what the rest of you thought we were prescribing. The rest of you thought we were prescribing 60% 3 times a week, 50%, 34, 25, 50, and 50. Because it felt like it, right? The amount of times you had to say 3 times a week to a patient felt like it was a lot. It felt like it was the majority of the time, right? Because it was using a muscle that we haven't used in a very long time, so it felt like a big effort. But in actuality, it was less than 16% of the time over the past month. So if you see this number not go up as much as you like, then we can look at that. If you see this number not go up as much as you like, we can look at that. But this number went up, this and this went up slightly because this number did go up. Because prior to our push, do you know how many times we prescribed 3 times a week? I think you all can guess. A big fat 0.
Oh, 0?
Yeah, 0. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe a handful, yeah, maybe a handful, yeah. Not enough to make it significantly a percentage point, basically, in comparison to the volume that we were seeing. Yeah. But increasing it just to 15.72 brought this up, brought this up. So imagine increasing this to 30%, what it would do to this and to this, what it would do to this. Does that make sense? Any questions? Comments, concerns? Okay. So, now that you're seeing this, and you feel like you've been doing this a lot more than you actually are, I'm curious to hear from you guys. What's the challenge in prescribing 3 times a week? What's holding you back from prescribing it more than 15.72% of the time? Because something is stopping you, right? And there's no right or wrong answer, by the way. Some of them are valid reasons why. They're all valid reasons, actually, but some of them are like, well, you can't change that. Yes, Danielle.
Childcare, like some of my patients can't come as frequent because they can't get childcare.
Childcare, okay. What else?
Availability and the schedule itself, like, if I had an eval this week and told them they needed to come in 3 times, I didn't have.
You didn't have 3 times, you didn't have the opening, yeah. Okay. So, because you knew you wouldn't have the availability, you didn't prescribe 3 times?
No, I still prescribed it, but I said like, what I did was I was like, for the next 2 weeks, let's go for twice a week, and then the further out you schedule, try to get 3. But
Okay.
I knew they wouldn't be able to get 3 times this week.
So you prescribed twice a week for the next couple of weeks and then 3 times after that. But clinically, what would have been best?
3.
Mm-hmm.
But Yoshi had this patient who was very angry. I don't know if you heard about this, because he was told to do 3 and then he couldn't get 3, and then he ended up yelling at you guys. So
Okay.
So you were responsible for your medical development, or just
Okay. What else? valid reasons, right? And the thing is that what you recommend clinically
So,
shouldn't be the same as what you feel they should do, regardless of any of the circumstances, regardless of the schedule, regardless of childcare, regardless of availability, regardless of anything. You give your prescription rate based on your clinical recommendation, period. What they decide to do after that is up to them. Let them make their choices after you've given your solid, firm, clinical prescription. Because childcare, they'll figure it out if they want. But it shouldn't affect your judgment, your clinical judgment. If they were post-op and had to come in 3 days a week, would you say only 1 day a week because you have childcare issues and hopefully your knee bends? Right? You just know, post-op, the outcome will be not as good if you don't come frequently. You know that for a fact, right? So you would never not recommend 3 times a week post-op. You wouldn't even think about childcare. You wouldn't even think about your schedule. Let them figure out their childcare. Let them, front desk, figure out your schedule. Okay? Let them deal with the angry patient up front. That is very, very rare. The fact that it happened recently, but it's very rare.
There's
So,
also a little bit of an alcohol.
so I wouldn't take that as a reason. Yeah. Let's.
Videos.
Yes, thank you.
Is the YouTube channel public?
And so let the front desk handle the rest. We have an extensive wait list. You all get cancellations. The front desk pops those. How do you guys think you get patients after you get a cancellation? Off the wait list. If you prescribe 3 times a week and you know you have nothing available, they'll get on your wait list and they'll get in. We currently have a 19% cancellation rate. That's a high cancel. It's high, yes. It's high. It's high. Meaning patients cancel. That's normal. So if they only schedule 2 times a week and they cancel 1, then they're only coming in once a week. But if they schedule 3 times a week and they cancel 1, then they come in at least twice a week. If they're on the wait list, front desk will get them in. I know for pelvic floor, it's harder because it's just you and Liz doing pelvic floor, so they can't see another PT. But it still happens. You all get cancellations. For the other PTs, the front desk speaks to the speaks to the patient about them seeing another therapist in the meantime to get their treatment in. And they will hear it more and understand it more if they hear it from you as well. How important it is to get their treatments in so that they can reach their goals, so that we can reach the 4 phases of recovery, which is here and on the postcard that they have. Can't reach them if they're not here, right? Can't make them better if they're not here. Any questions on that? So, again, our job is to give them our clinical recommendation. Their job is to do what they see fit for it. But if you're wishy-washy with it, they're gonna be wishy-washy with it. If you say 2 to 3 times a week, they're gonna be 2 to 3 times a week. If you say it's okay to do a couple of here and a couple of there, they're gonna be okay with a couple of here and a couple of there. Okay? I have a script that I can email you guys so you can have it. It just like The wording, I think, is good, and it helps convey the message, but basically, what you wanna say to them is, based on your condition and goals, I recommend we start at 3 times a week for the first few weeks, so we can make real progress quickly. Then we'll taper off as you improve. If we space this out too much early on, it tends to slow things down. So you wanna show them that there's real consequences on spreading this out. And it's a waste of time, a waste of money. It's expensive to be here. Right, so let's get the most out of it. I can email you guys that. So, just make sure I got all my talking points here. We've seen great movement since we started this, and especially in the last month. Let's keep moving in that right direction. Let's keep bringing these up. I like the little quiz thing that we did today, right? That was like a real eye opener for me too. I was like, oh man. And if we get this right, if we show improvement in our numbers, we can actually have our patients walking out of here feeling better, and more than 60% of them. 80%, 90%. I'm realistic, not 100%. Okay? Any questions on that? Yeah, Yoshi.
Sort of adjacent.
Yeah.
You mentioned statistics saying like there's like a national average
Yeah.
for like number of visits for successful discharge.
Uh-huh.
Do you have the source on that? I'm just curious, like what
Yeah.
kind of clinics they like aggregate.
100%. I will send you those studies. Yep. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay. So, I was gonna give these out earlier, but I realized that you would have gotten these answers from this. I'm gonna give these out now. It's really for the PTs, aides. If you're near a PT, you can look on, but.
You're waiting for you until you pass your boards.
Oh my goodness.
It's
I was being
recorded.
optimistic.
It's recorded.
I said when, not if. I said when. I said
Okay, so we talked about this a few staff meetings ago, and then we talked about it at the beginning of the year, and now we're talking about it at the end of the first quarter. Yesterday was the official end of quarter 1 of 2026. So we measure OKRs. OKRs are objectives and key results. Okay, so pick an objective at the beginning of a quarter or the beginning of a year, and then we choose key results that will help us achieve those objectives, and within those key results we choose action items that will help us achieve those key results. Okay, so we chose an objective for the first quarter of 2026, which officially ended yesterday. And the objective for 2026, you can see in that top darkened rectangle. Do you see that? Is everyone following where I am? Objective for Q1 2026. Yes, yes, B2, yeah. Sustain and optimize increased profit margins in Q1 through consistent RPV performance, strong patient retention, and disciplined expense management in order to successfully launch and fund a profit sharing program in 2026 that rewards performance and strengthens team engagement. So I chose 3 key results to improve our overall metrics with the overall goal of team engagement and a profit sharing program for all of you. There was 3 key results. The first key result was increase the revenue. That's kind of obvious, right? Increase, the more money you make, the more I can share. Increase the revenue to ensure profitability by the end of the quarter. The second key result is to increase our RPV, our revenue per visit, to 106. And the third key result is to increase our clinical efficiency to 90%. So let's go through them one at a time. Number one, key result, increase the revenue to ensure profitability by the end of the quarter. So the key actions or the action items that would help with this was I was looking at our expenses every week, at our profit every week, itemizing it all, seeing where we're spending more, making more, sending out value emails and offer emails to our patients. Drea has been instrumental in helping with this. She has put together past patient reactivation campaigns, both via text and email, to reach out to patients, past patients, to draw them back. We put together a 3-year discharge program for our patients, meaning all of our patients that have been discharged and are continuing to be discharged are put in a 3-year email sequence where they are sent an email over the course of 3 years every month, checking in on them. How are they doing? How are the exercises going that they were given? Are they still doing them? Do they have any questions about them? So this level of activation and re-engagement, if you see any past patients on your schedule lately, thank Drea. So she is also actively speaking with them on a regular basis just to keep them engaged and aware. We also had the pelvic floor workshop that Shoshana did. That was a big success. It brought in 2 new patients, which is huge. It also it brought in 2 new patients from the workshop, but it brought our clinic to the forefront of pelvic floor treatment. Shoshana, you can see that your schedule has many more pelvic floor patients as of late, and that was because of the ads that we put out on social media about the workshop. We became the clinic that is knowledgeable and the expertise in pelvic floor. And that by itself spreads the word. And so we didn't even need to attend the workshop, they just scheduled their visits with us. Okay? So having said that, I'd like to do another workshop sometime soon. So if any of you have a, that was a nice poke, I like that poke, have a interest in doing one, Shoshana will attest that it wasn't as bad as it seems. No.
Just don't expect people to give you any feedback.
No feedback, yes, silence afterwards, yeah. But they, but really all that you would be responsible for is putting the workshop together, meaning the presentation together. I handle setting it up and getting your attendees. You just have to show up with a presentation with facts. True ones. So you can pick a topic, the knee, the shoulder, balance, return to sport, ACL, okay. What do you want to see more of? Shoshana did a workshop on pelvic floor, now her schedule is full of pelvic floor patients. What do you want to see more of on your schedule? Okay. So, just putting that little seed in there in case anyone's interested. So those are some of the action items that we did to help increase our overall profit margin. Now, let's look at the 3 columns that are next to it. So this is something that Drea, Ogechi, and I measure on a weekly basis. And so from columns D through, I think it's L, 13 weeks. We did it on a weekly basis. Columns D, E, F are, D is the goal, what we were trying to achieve. E is the percentage of that goal achieved. And F is the running total. So the key result number 1, which is to increase the revenue, our goal was $540,000 for the first quarter. We achieved $467,000 of that. Where did I get 540? 540 is the number we need to break even. I achieved 87%, which is very good. It's not quite there, but that's what Q2, Q3, and Q4 are for. Okay? Key result number 2, increase the RPV to 106. Goal is 106. As of this week, we are at 104. Incredible. We are 98% there. Okay, so not quite there, but much closer. Considering we started at, don't remember what it was when we started? Yeah, 98, yeah, 98. So to increase from 98 to 104 in a revenue per visit world, I know it's $6, but $6 times how many patients? That's a lot. It's a lot. And to bring it up to $6 is a lot. And this is some of the ways that we worked on it. Selling shockwave packages and changing the mode in which we do our coding, right? Not doing anything different with our patients, but coding it more appropriately so that there is a different code combination for our treatment sessions. Key result number 3 is to increase the clinical efficiency to 90%. Our goal is 90%. The highest we got was 75%. Well, not the highest, the average we got was 75%. So we achieved 84% of that goal. Clinical efficiency is how full our schedule is. How many patients actually came in versus the number of slots available. So if we had 100 slots available for the week, only 77 of those, or only 75 of those were filled. Okay, and that's line number, I don't know, 56 or something on your weekly wrap up, okay? Every time you go like this, I think you're raising your hand. So some of the ways we worked on increasing our clinical efficiency is to increase the prescription rate to 2.3. That's why our goal is 2.3 on the OKRs and not 1.8, because actually increasing it to 2.3 will get us to that clinical efficiency of 90%. Talk to 3 therapists about improving arrival rates, hitting our goal of arrival rate of 93%. Guys, look how close we got. Our average was 90% for arrival rate. That's really cool, okay? Most clinics, their arrival rate is in the 70s. It jumped dramatically thanks to Shoshana's tip of adding the text reminder to our schedule. That helped a lot. Very few, and I mean less than a handful, don't come to their appointment because they forgot, where it was much more than that before. And then when they get their reminder the day before and they're like, oh man, I have an appointment tomorrow, I can't make it, they call us or text us back to cancel it and give us enough time to fill that spot with our extensive wait list. So know that, make sure your patients go on the wait list, because with that text reminder, they're canceling the day before if they can't make it when they get their text, so we can jump into the wait list and grab lots of people off of that wait list, okay?
Very amazing. So some of my patients do say that they don't get the text reminder. Is it still because they're like a long time patient, or?
No.
Okay.
No, so if
I
they don't,
check it every day.
huh?
I check it every day.
Yeah, so if they don't get it, if any of your patients say they don't get it, please tell them to tell the front desk.
Okay.
Because we have everybody, maybe we missed 1 or 2 where it's not checked off, which, you know, that's a possibility. We have thousands of patients. But everyone is opted in unless they physically opt out. And then they have a choice of a phone call or a text. And so if they're not getting it, the front desk can check, and if any of them are getting rejected, we get a report, and we figure out why the rejection reason. and actually the rejections have been very few.
Yeah, it's more like something like us confirming, thank you for confirming.
Correct, yeah, so I
They can
would,
press stop, cause it tells us that someone said they don't want it no more.
Correct.
So that's
Only-
an option they can put.
only if they opt out, but otherwise, so if they're not getting it, if anybody, if you guys hear patients that are not getting it, tell them to tell the front desk, and the front desk will investigate what's happening, okay? And finally, increase our weekly visit frequency to 1.8. Okay? These are all ways, increasing this will increase our clinical efficiency. So, having said that, Q1 is over, Q2 starts today. So, these goals are gonna be measured again over the next 3 months to see where we're at on a weekly basis, how we're trending. Okay? And based on that, we'll make any changes if need be, because we hit our goals and we need to make new goals, or we're so far from our goal. That's not true. We're getting so close to it. Any questions?